Welcome to this second video in which I present 13 incredible movies in Dolby Atmos. If you'd like to find out more about Dolby Atmos and a real case study in remixing and restoring a film, then I suggest you watch this video, which details all the stages involved in restoring the film Asterix and Obelix Mission Cleopatre. You'll find the link in the description. I also invite you to take a look at the reviews of Top Gun Maverick, John Wick 4, and Evil Dead Rise, which also have incredible soundtracks, but which I have deliberately not included in this ranking. As usual, the soundtracks are analyzed by Trinov's Altitude 32 processor and its Altitude Object Viewer software, which allows the objects used by the Atmos to be represented in 3D space. Without further ado, let's move on to our selection.
James Halliday saw the future, and then he built it. He gave us a place to go, the Oasis.
Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, which I was criticized for not including in the first video, is obviously a must-see. Although the objects are static, the soundstage is absolutely incredible. All the channels are used in abundance. The film is full of all kinds of effects, and this racing scene is without doubt one of the most used sequences in terms of home cinema demonstrations.
Did they teach you how to feel finger to finger? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Do you long for having your heart interlinked? Interlinked.
Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049. Another one I was criticized for not mentioning. The film has a phenomenally powerful soundtrack. The sound design and music provide a high-flying immersive experience with a devastating bass channel. Both subtle and thunderous, this Atmos track is a benchmark.
I miss waking up every morning wondering what wonderful adventure the new day will bring to us.
This is not an adventure, Sala. Those days have come and gone.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny by James Mangold. Even if this episode is far from unanimous, it offers a number of very rich sequences with a particularly well-exploited sense of envelopment. Even if it's not systematic, the use of the upper channels is often very convincing, particularly in underwater scenes or inside aircraft cockpits.
Get out of the way!
Sorry, pal, but you're a Nazi!
I don't think we can do anything. Because when you get this,
If I get this.
when you get this, you gotta give it everything you got. It's your dream.
La La Land by Damien Chazelle. In a different register, the use of Atmos in this musical film works wonders. The soundstage is very expansive. You're literally plunged into the heart of this musical whirlwind. The ambiences use the surrounds almost constantly to immerse us in the various dance numbers.
I believe there's an ecosystem out there the likes of which we can't imagine. And the place to find it is this island.
Con Skull Island by Jordan Vogt Roberts. From the very first seconds, you're in the mood. You know you're in for an earful from all sides. The dynamic of the soundtrack is truly impressive. The flight scenes make perfect use of the upper channels, and the roar of Kong and the other monsters will have your equipment shaking.
going to tell you a story about a man. His name was Bond. James Bond.
No Time to Die by Kari Joji Fukunaga. A little more subtle in its use of music, this soundtrack is no less explosive. The Atmos provides a very rich ambience, and above all offers us some very impressive elevation effects, notably on the helicopter flight, or in the scene with the water gushing out all over the place. The gunfights also have their share of objects flying in all directions, and the scene where Bond is deafened after an explosion is particularly effective.
We cannot let you bring your war here.
I'm done with war. Okay? I just want to keep my family safe.
Avatar: The Way of Water by James Cameron. With such a playground, it was impossible not to have a dimensional soundtrack. Everything is a pretext for the use of Atmos. The atmosphere of Pandora, that train attack, the underwater scenes or the Ikran flights, the channels are in constant use. So it's not the debauchery of objects you'd expect, but it's remarkably effective, and the feeling of immersion is total for 3 hours at all times.
Open fire! Open fire!
Sully's inbound. I want eyes on. All right, let's go. Saddle up. We're up.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to acquire the key and deliver it to us.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 by Christopher McQuarrie. It's hard for a top Atmos not to have at least one film starring Tom Cruise, and the least we can say is that Atmos really comes into its own here, with scenes offering very convincing immersion and use of vertical channels, whether it's in the airport, the streets of Rome, or in the astonishing final sequence. Everything is absolutely perfect, from the sound effects to the music and spatialization. The Atmos track is simply prodigious.
What if I told you, I know what happens when you die?
6 Underground by Michael Bay. I can hear you crying sacrilege. How can I, a fervent defender of the physical medium, promote a Netflix film? Quite simply because the work done here is Dantesque. It's great Michael Bay. This film is a stack of sequences, each more delirious than the last. Subtlety, poetry, and finesse are obviously totally absent here. It's bold, it's low-key, but it's totally enjoyable. In short, there's no reason to sulk over the pleasure, and the Atmos track is simply amazing.
Pas trop beaucoup ça. Je préfère quand c'est un peu trop plus moins calme.
Asterix and Obelix Mission Cleopatre by Elaine Chabat. As stated in the introduction, this film benefited from an Atmos upmix. And having had the chance to see the work done by Theory 11 and Jonathan Martins, I can tell you that they pulled out all the stops. Many of the scenes make use of vertical channels, elevation and magnification effects between the flying Romans, the effects of magic potions and various projectiles. The soundstage is incredibly rich.
Sove sakatsara. Bia mupits ikimai. A long time ago, it is said, a monster came here.
Prey by Den Trachtenberg. A real surprise, this film brings a new sparkle to the franchise. The photography is sumptuous, and what better way to sublimate the great outdoors than with an equally sublime soundtrack, combining subtlety and power. The bass channel is monstrous. Even if the vertical channels aren't often put to good use, when they are, it's hard to miss them. The openness of the sound is incredible, whether in calm moments such as the Tomahawk training session, or in more over-the-top moments such as the grizzly bear attack.
If you're one of the very, very few people getting this message, it means that you set the fastest lap time in Gran Turismo. There's a virtual race happening tomorrow. Win it, and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity awaits you.
Gran Turismo by Neil Blomkamp. This film takes you to the heart of the racetrack with a thundering Atmos track. Whether it's a simple dialogue or a racing sequence, everything is done to plunge you into the heart of the action, with a multitude of objects moving all around you, offering you some great sensations in the vertical channels.
Was that his car?
But if they get this Alpha O weapon online and destroy Nomad, they win, and we go extinct. You're the only one who knows the layout of that lab. Maybe you can help us.
The Creator by Gareth Edwards, and here's my personal favorite. Although it didn't get the reception it deserved, I urge you to give this film a chance. It offers us a visual and sound universe of staggering richness. The atmospheric work is magnificent, with objects used almost constantly. It spins, twirls, and soars at the slightest opportunity. It's a total spectacle. The sound design is particularly inventive, with the various robots, ships, and weapons offering a range of subtle yet devastating sounds. The bass channel is used to great effect, and the vertical channels are also put to good use on numerous occasions. All of this is enhanced by Hans Zimmer's score, which is also deployed in all the channels.
Targets! Targets! Run! Run! Nej! Vad har hänt?
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this selection and want to discover or rediscover these films. As usual, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.